Tonight's story is Three Corpses on the Mountain. Let's begin.
The first time I saw my brother Thomas die, I was 8 years old. She pulled him out. Water streamed from his mouth. His eyes were open, glassy, empty. Then he coughed, sat up, started laughing. "Just playing dead," he said. The second time I was 12. He fell from the oak tree in our backyard. I heard the crack, bones snapping. His neck twisted at an angle that made my stomach drop. I ran to him. His eyes stared at nothing. Then he blinked, grinned. "Got you again." By the time I was 17, I'd watched Thomas die 43 times. Drowning, falling, car accidents, a drug overdose at some party. Each time, that same impossible moment, death, then laughter. Now, standing in the lobby of the Ashford estate with my brother and our cousin Claire, I wondered if this would be number 44. The lawyer said we have until midnight to claim the inheritance. Claire's manicured nail tapped against her phone screen. Otherwise, it goes to charity. All of it. The Ashford estate loomed around us, 3 stories of Victorian architecture, dark wood paneling that seemed to absorb light, stained glass windows that turned the afternoon into something dim and wrong. The air smelled old, books and dust and something underneath, something sweet, like jasmine trying to cover up rot. Thomas dropped his duffel bag on the marble floor. The sound echoed up into the vaulted ceiling, kept echoing longer than it should have. Midnight, that's dramatic. He looked around. What are we supposed to do until then? Ghost tour? Read the will, sign the papers, split 3 ways. Claire's voice had that crisp efficiency she used at her law firm. Simple. Nothing about the Ashford estate felt simple. I'd never met our great-uncle Edmund. None of us had. He'd been estranged from the family for 40 years. Some argument with our grandfather that no one would talk about. The kind of family secret that hardens over time into something sharp enough to cut. Why us? I asked. He had other relatives, closer ones. Claire shrugged. The email said we were specifically named Thomas, Claire, and Emma Ashford, his brother's grandchildren. She looked around the lobby with professional assessment. The estate's worth at least $3 million. Property alone is 2, and that's before the contents. Thomas whistled low. Split 3 ways, not bad for showing up and signing papers. I watched my brother's reflection in the dark window. In the glass, his face looked hollow, wrong, like a mask with nothing behind it. I blinked. He was normal again, smiling that easy smile that had gotten him through life. Footsteps approached from deeper in the house, measured, unhurried. The sound of expensive shoes on marble. The man who entered wore a dark suit that might have been expensive 30 years ago. His face had the waxy quality of someone who never saw sunlight. Pale, too smooth. "Miss Ashford?" He nodded to Claire. "Mr. Ashford?" To Thomas. "Miss Ashford? To me?" His eyes lingered on me for a moment too long. "I'm Henry Marsh, your great-uncle's estate manager. Welcome." Claire extended her hand. "Thank you for meeting us." Henry Marsh didn't take it. He clasped his hands behind his back instead. The gesture looked rehearsed, unnatural. "Your great-uncle left specific instructions." His voice was flat, colorless. "You are to remain on the premises from now until midnight. At that time, if all 3 of you are present and in agreement, the inheritance will be distributed as outlined in his will." "And if we're not in agreement?" Thomas asked. "Then the estate goes to the Foundation for Historical Preservation." Henry's expression didn't change. "Your rooms have been prepared on the 2nd floor. Dinner will be served at 7 in the dining room." He paused. Something flickered across his face. "I suggest you rest until then. The house can be," another pause, disorienting to new visitors. He turned and walked back through the door. His footsteps faded into silence. "Creepy," Thomas said. "I like him." Claire was already heading for the stairs. "Let's find our rooms. I want to review the will before dinner." My room was at the end of the 2nd floor hallway, too far from Thomas and Claire's rooms. The distance felt deliberate. The door stood open. Inside, someone had laid out towels on the bed, fresh flowers sat on the dresser, that same too sweet jasmine smell. I dropped my bag and walked to the window. The view overlooked the back garden. Neat rows of hedges formed a maze around a central fountain. The fountain wasn't running. The water sat still and dark, a perfect black mirror. Then something moved in the maze below. I pressed closer to the glass. A figure in dark clothes walked through the maze. Left turn, right turn, left again. No hesitation, like they knew the path by heart. The figure reached the center, stopped at the fountain's edge, looked up. Thomas's face stared back at me from the garden. But Thomas was in his room down the hall. I'd heard his door close minutes ago. My heart hammered against my ribs. I pulled away from the window, counted to 5, looked again. The garden was empty. Just playing dead, I thought. Got you again? Except Thomas wasn't playing this time. Thomas didn't even know I'd seen him. Didn't know I'd seen it. Dinner at 7 turned out to be elaborate. The dining room table could seat 20, but only 3 places were set at one end. Crystal, china, silver that caught the candlelight and threw it back in strange patterns. Henry Marsh served each course himself. Soup, salad, some kind of roasted meat I didn't recognize. He poured wine from a crystal decanter, each glass filled to the same precise level. "The wine is from your great-uncle's private collection," he said. He was quite particular about his vintages. Thomas raised his glass. "To Uncle Edmund, may he rest in peace and leave us his money." "Thomas," Claire's voice had an edge, but she was smiling slightly. I didn't touch my wine. The color was wrong, too dark, almost black in the candlelight. "Emma, you're not drinking." Thomas was watching me. "Come on, it's probably worth more than my car." "I'm fine with water." "Suit yourself." He drank deeply, refilled his glass. "So, Henry, what's the deal with this place? Uncle Edmund live here alone?" "For the past 40 years, yes." Henry stood by the sideboard, hands clasped. He was very devoted to maintaining the estate. "No family?" Claire asked. "No friends?" He preferred solitude. "That's sad," I said. Henry Marsh turned to look at me. His expression didn't change, but something in his eyes shifted. "He seemed quite content," Henry said. The meat tasted like ash in my mouth. I pushed it around my plate. Thomas ate with enthusiasm. Claire picked at her food, occasionally checking her phone. "The will," Claire said. "Can we review it tonight?" "After dinner." Henry's voice was still flat. "In the library, your great-uncle's study." Thomas poured himself a 3rd glass of wine. His movements were looser now, relaxed. "This is actually pretty nice. Weird, but nice. When was the last time we all hung out together?" "Christmas," I said, 2 years ago." "That long? Damn." He looked at me, then at Claire. "We should do this more often, family dinners, without the dead uncle and creepy mansion, obviously." Claire laughed. It sounded genuine. I watched them both. The candlelight caught their faces at wrong angles, made the shadows move behind them in ways that didn't match their movements. Thomas's reflection in the wine glass showed his face upside down and hollow. "Just like in the window." "I need some air," I said. My chair scraped against the floor. "We haven't finished," Claire started. "I'll be back, just need a minute." I walked out before either of them could protest. The hallway stretched longer than I remembered. Doors on both sides, too many doors, too many dark spaces where anything could be waiting. The back door stood at the end of the hallway, brass handle gleaming. I pushed it open, stepped into the garden. The maze looked different at dusk. The hedges were taller, darker. The paths between them seemed to shift as I watched. But I walked toward the entrance anyway. Something pulled me forward, something I couldn't name. The fountain in the center wasn't running, but I could hear water. Drip, drip, drip. Irregular from somewhere in the darkness. I entered the maze. The first path curved left. The hedges rose on both sides, blocking out what little light remained. My footsteps echoed off the leaves. Then I heard other footsteps behind me, matching my pace. I stopped. The footsteps stopped. I started walking again, faster. The footsteps followed, faster. The path forked. I went right, then left, then right again. The hedges pressed closer. The air grew thick, heavy with that jasmine smell and something else, something rotten underneath. I rounded a corner and stopped. The fountain stood in front of me. Dark water filled it to the brim, perfectly still. My reflection stared back from the surface, but the face wasn't quite right. The eyes were too wide. The mouth hung open in a silent scream I wasn't making. Then the water rippled. Something moved beneath the surface. I stepped back. My heel caught on the edge of the fountain. I felt myself falling. The water was so cold it burned. I went under, mouth open, gasping. Water rushed in, filled my throat, my lungs. I thrashed, clawed for the surface, but the fountain was only 2 feet deep. I should have been able to stand. Except I couldn't. Something held me down, hands, multiple hands, gripping my shoulders, my arms, my legs, pulling me deeper into water that shouldn't have been deep enough. I opened my eyes underwater, saw faces pressed against mine. Gray faces, bloated, eyes wide and empty. They were whispering. The sound bubbled through the water. "Welcome home, welcome home, welcome home." My lungs burned, vision darkened at the edges. Then nothing. I gasped, coughed, water streamed from my mouth. I was on my hands and knees beside the fountain, soaking wet, shaking. How long had I been under? Seconds? Minutes? "There you are." I looked up. Thomas stood at the entrance to the maze clearing, backlit by the house lights, his face in shadow. "We've been looking for you," he said. "Henry wants to read the will." His voice sounded wrong. The pitch was off, like someone doing a bad impression of my brother. "I fell," I said. My voice shook. "Into the fountain." Thomas walked closer. "You're soaked. We should get you changed." He offered his hand. I stared at it. The fingers were too long, the palm too pale. "Come on, Emma." That wrong voice again. "Claire's waiting." I took his hand. The skin was cold, clammy. He pulled me to my feet. For a moment we stood very close, close enough that I could see his eyes in the dim light. They weren't Thomas's eyes. They were older, much older, and they were looking at me with recognition. Like they knew something I didn't. "Let's go," he said. We walked back through the maze. Thomas navigated without hesitation, every turn correct, like he'd walked this path 1,000 times before. The library was on the first floor. Dark wood shelves lined every wall, books from floor to ceiling. The air smelled like old paper and dust. Claire sat in one of the leather chairs by the fireplace. She looked up when we entered. "Jesus, Emma, what happened to you?" "I fell in the fountain." "You should change." "I'm fine." I sat down. Water pooled beneath my chair. "Let's just get this over with." Henry Marsh stood behind a large desk. A leather folder sat in front of him. "Now that you're all present," he said, opening the folder, "I'll read your great-uncle's last will and testament." He began to read. The legal language washed over me. Assets, beneficiaries, stipulations. Then he reached a section that made him pause. "To my grandniece and grandnephews," he read slowly, "I leave not just my estate, but the truth of our family. The Ashfords do not die. We transfer. We move from body to body, generation to generation. This is not inheritance. This is continuation. One of you already knows this. One of you is already me." The room went silent. Thomas laughed. "That's insane. This is some kind of joke, right? Hidden cameras?" Claire's face had gone pale. "Henry, this can't be legally binding. A curse isn't a real condition." "Your great-uncle was quite sane when he wrote this." Henry closed the folder. "I witnessed his signature myself, 3 weeks before his death." "Ew, what did he die of?" I asked. My voice sounded distant, like it was coming from someone else. "He drowned." Henry looked at me. "In the fountain. In the maze, I found him face down in the water." My blood went cold. "Like I found Thomas when we were kids," I whispered, "face down in the pond." Thomas's laughter cut off. "Emma, that was nothing. I was playing." "Were you?" I looked at him, really looked at him. "Because you've died 43 times since then. The tree, the car accident, Lake Morrison, that overdose. Every time you should have died. Every time you didn't. Because I was lucky." But his voice wavered. "Or because you're already dead." Claire was staring at her hands. "I've seen my death too, 3 years ago. The highway accident. The doctors called it a miracle. No brain damage, no permanent injuries, like I just came back." "This is crazy," Thomas said, but he wasn't laughing anymore. I thought about the figure in the maze, my face on Thomas's body. My own face under the water, screaming. "One of us is not who we think we are," I said. "One of us is Edmund," Claire said quietly. We looked at each other. 3 grandchildren, 3 chairs, 3 portions of an inheritance we didn't understand. The clock on the wall ticked toward midnight. "There's a way to test this." Thomas leaned forward. "Uncle Edmund knew things about this family. Private things. If one of us is really him, we'd know those things too." "Like what?" Claire asked. "Like why he and grandfather stopped speaking." Thomas's eyes were sharp now, focused. "No one in the family knows. They took it to their graves. But Edmund would know." Silence pressed against my eardrums. Then I heard my voice. But I wasn't the one speaking. "Your grandfather discovered what I was," my mouth said. "What we all are. He wanted to end it, stop the cycle. He thought if he killed me and made sure I stayed dead, the curse would break." The words came from my throat, but I didn't form them. Something else was using my voice, something old, something that had been waiting inside me. Waiting for this moment. "He was wrong," my voice continued. "I came back. I always come back. I've spent 40 years in this house, studying our family, learning the patterns. We don't die, children. We transfer. When an Ashford dies, we move into another Ashford. We wear their face. We become them." Thomas stood up. "Emma, stop it. This isn't funny." "I'm not Emma anymore." The thing wearing my face smiled. I felt my lips move, felt the expression form, but I didn't make it happen. "Emma died in the maze an hour ago," it said with my mouth. "She drowned in the fountain, just like I did, just like I planned. And when she died, I moved into her, because that's what we do. That's what we've always done." "No." No, 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 no. I was screaming inside my own head, but nothing came out. I was trapped behind my own eyes, a passenger in my own body. Claire backed away from the desk. This isn't real. This isn't possible. You know it is. I stood up. The movements weren't mine. You felt it, haven't you, Claire? The gaps in your memory after the accident, the times you wake up and don't recognize yourself in the mirror. My head turned to look at her. I didn't turn it. That's not you anymore, my voice said. That's your great-aunt Margaret. She died in 1987. She's been waiting for a suitable host. She moved into you the moment your heart stopped on that highway. And me? Thomas asked. His voice was very quiet. You're the interesting one. My body walked toward him. You've died so many times, you're a patchwork. Parts of your grandfather, parts of your uncle, parts of cousins you never met. Every time you should have died, another Ashford moved in. You're not one person anymore. You're all of us. Thomas's expression shifted, hardened. When he spoke again, his voice dropped an octave, aged 40 years in an instant. So what happens now? The clock struck midnight. 12 chimes echoed through the house. Each one reverberated in my chest. I felt them like hammer blows. On the final chime, something changed. The air grew thick, heavy. The portraits on the walls seemed to lean forward, painted eyes suddenly aware. And I felt myself screaming inside this body, trapped in the space where my consciousness used to be. Terror and confusion and desperate clawing attempts to claw my way back to the surface. But Edmund was stronger. He had 40 years of practice. The inheritance, Edmund said with my mouth, is not the house, it's immortality. We Ashfords don't die, we just move, from body to body, generation to generation, an eternal family wearing an endless succession of faces. How many of us are there? The voice that came from Claire was different now, higher, older, a woman's voice from another era. In this house? Edmund smiled with my face. 17 distinct consciousnesses spread across 3 bodies. We've been collecting for 200 years. I screamed and screamed and screamed inside my own skull. No one heard. Edmund walked my body to the window. The maze was visible in the moonlight, the fountain dark and still at its center. Emma's body will make a fine addition, he said. She's young, strong, she'll last decades. Henry Marsh stepped forward with the documents. If you'll sign here. Edmund took the pen with my hand, signed Emma Ashford in my handwriting. I felt every stroke of the pen like a knife. Thomas signed next. His hand moved with the confidence of someone who'd signed this name before, many times before. Then Claire. Except it wasn't Claire anymore. It was Margaret, wearing her grandniece's face like a well-tailored suit. Congratulations. Henry's face changed. The waxy mask fell away. His eyes came alive for the first time. The Ashford estate is now legally yours, all of yours. He smiled. It transformed his entire face. Welcome home, Edmund. Margaret. Father. Father. Henry was one of them, had always been one of them. The portraits on the walls seemed to exhale, a collective sigh of satisfaction. Edmund looked at Thomas and Claire through my eyes, saw past their faces to the multitudes beneath. We should call the others, Thomas said. Multiple voices layered in his throat, young and old, male and female, a chorus. Tell them we have new accommodations. Some of the older ones are getting cramped in their current hosts. Tomorrow, Edmund said. Tonight, let's just enjoy being together again. It's been too long. They walked my body back to the dining room. Henry brought out more wine. They toasted to Edmund, to Margaret, to all the Ashfords who had come before and would come after. Inside my head, I screamed. I screamed until my voice went hoarse, until the sound became a whisper, until the whisper faded to silence. Edmund felt it, felt me disappearing. He smiled. Outside, in the maze, the fountain began to flow again. Dark water spilled over the stone edges, thick, too thick. Waiting for the next generation, the next inheritance, the next fool who thought death was the end. The Ashford estate stood silent against the night sky, windows glowing with warm light. Inside, 3 young people laughed and drank and made plans for the future. None of them were who they appeared to be. All of them were home. In the morning, when Emma's parents called to check on their daughter, Edmund answered in her voice. Hi, Mom, he said with my throat. Everything's wonderful. The inheritance went smoothly. We're all so happy. He could feel me then. Still there, still screaming, a tiny voice in the vast emptiness he'd carved out inside my skull. He laughed with my mouth. Love you too, he said. Talk soon. He hung up, looked at his reflection in the hallway mirror. Emma's face stared back, young and fresh and perfect. But the eyes were ancient. Don't worry, he whispered to me. to the tiny fragment of Emma still trapped inside. You'll get used to it. They all do. Eventually, you'll just be another voice in the chorus. Another Ashford who learned what family really means. He walked my body back to the dining room. Thomas and Claire were already there, planning, laughing, wearing stolen faces. Henry poured more wine. The portraits watched with approval. And somewhere deep inside, in a place that was getting smaller and darker with each passing moment, Emma Ashford screamed into the void. But no sound came out. It never would again, because that's what family does. We take care of each other, we wear each other's faces, we make sure no Ashford ever truly dies. We just keep coming back. Again and again and again, forever.